Okay, let's talk about the new Warcry starter set. Now, starter set, I'd say, is a relaxed word for what we've got here. What I'm going to do really is I'm going to give you my thoughts on it, who I think it's for, is it a good deal, all that kind of stuff. We've up front, so the pricing is, this is £65 or €85. Now, that's obviously much cheaper than the rest of the Warcry starter sets that have ever been. Blah, blah, blah. Actually, it's probably about the same price as the original starter set, but that was a long time ago. But this is much changed from what we expect of any Warcry starter set. So this is aimed at new players, people that have never played Warcry before. And so basically what they get within this is 2 small warbands, which is warbands that have been taken from Warhammer Underworlds. So an understrength team pitted against each other with a game mat. Excuse me. Now they say game mat. I'm assuming it's a piece of laminated paper. So yeah, I don't think you'll be getting an actual mat in this. I think you're getting some laminated paper. It's got the tokens and all that kind of stuff. The general Warcry cards. It's got 18 white dice, so none of the cool Warcry dice, just the cheapo white ones you get. And a set of terrain, which is new, but very limited in scope. So this can only be for the very base level starters into the game of Warcry. So if you've never played before, or you've looked at the game, you thought, I'd like to get into this, and you want a much lower price point to try and get into it, this is the game for you. £65 retail. You'll be able to pick it up from Element Games or the likes of that for around about 55, just over 50 quid mark. And genuinely, it does give you everything you need to play a really slimmed down game of Warcry. Effectively, it's a 20-minute game of Warcry, really, with the reduced size of the mat, the reduced model count and all that kind of stuff. Now, I personally believe that this is a poor place to start with Warcry. If you're going to get this box, and I'm assuming that because this includes Underworld's models, I'm assuming that very soon we'll be getting a new Tome of Champions, which will give us all of the Underworld stuff. That's a bit of a strong assumption, to be fair, but I think that this is perhaps a gateway for them to reintroduce all of that older stuff back into the game, or all that Underworld stuff back into the game. And they need to do that for anyone that buys this box. And I'll tell you why. If you're using this as a lower price point to get into Warcry, if you want to move on from this point and go, actually, yeah, so let's get some other warbands and blah blah blah, the price point to move on, to crack on with the game, is going to be high. So let me explain that. So in this box, you've got the tokens you need for the game. That's fine. It's a reduced token card. Because it's got a range ruler and all that kind of thing, but there's less wound tokens, less and that kind of thing on there. So if you want to press on to a full game of Warcry, the minimum you're going to have to do is buy 2 warbands, and that's 70 quid RRP, and so that's more than the cost of this box just for 2 warbands, because you can't add these together because one is order and one is death. So you're going to have to do that. You're going to probably have to get a full rule book. So this doesn't come with a proper core book. It's got the core rules in it. I don't know how in depth that's going to be. Perhaps it will include all of the rules and whip out some of the lore and all that sort of thing. That remains to be seen. You haven't got anywhere near enough terrain in this box to play a full game of Warcry, because on a Warcry sized board, it's going to be too sparse. There's going to be nothing on there. There's no climbable terrain in this set at all. And realistically, it is just all far too small. So really, if you get this and you buy and you like Warcry and you want to press on, you've got to spend close to £100 just to carry on with the game, unless of course they release that Tome of Champions with the Underworld stuff in it. So any Underworld's warbands you already have, you can get those and add them to the game, or the Underworld's warbands, I believe, are slightly cheaper than a Warcry warband. Although it is a massively reduced model count and all that kind of thing, you'll still be able to play them with this set. So that's if they release that stuff. But for me, it as a deal, it's not great. Effectively, so you buy this, you want to press on with Warcry. Realistically, the best thing you're going to be able to do is buy Heart of Gur or something like that, or one of the other sets that came from last season, but then you'll have to buy a core book on top of it. So it's a cheaper starter point, but in order to press on, you're going to have £100 to spend on it anyway, at bare minimum, because £100 will get you basically 2 warbands and a rule book, but you're going to need more. You're going to need more terrain and that kind of thing. So yeah, listen, I don't want to knock it too much. In isolation, for what it is, there will be players that, you know, it will fall into a price point that they can actually get on with. But what I'm saying is, it's going to be difficult for them to press on with Warcry beyond this set if money is a limited option for you. So that is my thoughts on Warcry Crypt of Blood. Don't get me wrong, I quite like the scatter terrain that's in it. The sarcophagus and the statue are cool. The rest of it is meh. But yeah, a bit of a strange one for me, to be honest with you. I'm not fully understanding just what this is for. I mean, in the core rules of Warcry, it'll probably tell you need 1,000 points for a warband. The warbands in this are probably going to be 500 each or something like that. Other releases this week, so we've got the Warcry Questor Soulsworn and the Warcry Royal Beast Flayers. So these are the ones that came out of Nightmare Quest, just being released forevermore. They're £35 each, or €45. They're actually both nice warbands. I like them. They both play well. Despite being a reduced model count, they're a bit punchier, a bit heavier hitting, which is what I like. That's the nice balance for me for Warcry. In terms of the rest of the releases, no pricing for this because this is all licensed products. Yeah, some funky lanyards. I'm assuming this is all going to be available on Merchoid or on the GW website. Desk mats, not really sure what that is, but looks cool anyway. And then we've got some Black Library stuff. No pricing for this for some reason on the trade prices this week. So obviously there you go, print on demand, so that's going to be GW only. And what have we got for Warhammer Plus? Angels of Death Origins in the Company of Death. I hated Angels of Death, so I won't be watching that. And then a little bit more for the Vault. But yeah, certainly from a Warcry perspective, it's nice to get new stuff, but maybe not this stuff for me. Let me know in the comments if it's for you. You know, if you've been interested in getting involved with Warcry. Funny enough, there's a guy at my gaming club, Greg. He's a subscriber. Hello. He's been talking about getting into Warcry. So Greg, let me know. Is this something that interests you? Is this your way of getting into Warcry, or is this just a setup? Is this just we've got a load of stuff sat on the shelf. Let's get shifted into some of these Underworld sprues that we've got laying in storage, and cobble something together. Now, it does actually make me worry about the rest of the roadmap. I very much hope that the rest of the roadmap doesn't consist of things like this. I hope that they get back to traditional Warcry. Because, to be honest with you, Warcry, when I think about Warhammer in general, Warcry is definitely the game I've enjoyed most out of Warhammer for the last, well, since it came out, really. I've played so much more of this than I have anything else. I do think it suffers from having constant releases all the time. But certainly, as a way forward, I'm not sure this is it. So let me know what you think about this stuff. Like I say, that is cool. And that is cool. But to dictate a £65 purchase for things that we already have or aren't proper Warcry, I'm not sure. I'm really not sure. So anyway, I'll leave it there. Thanks for watching, guys. Much appreciated. Listen, I've just sat here and slagged it off for the last 5 or 10 minutes. But if you want to pre-order it, please consider using my Element Games affiliate link. It massively helps me out. And it really kind of pushes the channel forward a little bit. But thanks very much for watching, guys. Much appreciated. Like and subscribe and all that good nonsense. And I will see you later.